Well, guys, it's now time for my Week 7 picks of the 2025 NFL season. As last week, I went 9-6. I was looking good, actually, after the 1 p.m. games, but then the 4 p.m. games, and then, God forbid, the Monday night games. Everything went to shit afterwards. The Sunday night, Monday night games, everything went to complete shit. It sucked. Anyways, these are the regular season stands and the playoff stands at the season of the day. In the AFC, it's the Colts with the bye, with Broncos at Steelers, Jaguars at Chargers, and Bills at Patriots. And the NFC, it's the Buccaneers with the bye, with Rams at Packers, Lions at 49ers, and Seahawks at Eagles. And my Super Bowl prediction right now is the Buccaneers over the Colts. Alright, so now let's get to my Week 7 picks. Starting off on Thursday night tonight with an AFC North matchup, as it's the Steelers at the Bengals. The Bengals won the last one. The Steelers haven't beaten them since last year. And the Bengals haven't won at home against the Steelers since 2021. As the Steelers, of course, played last week and beat the Browns. Aaron Rodgers looked good and all that. And there was nothing else really to say about that, as right now they're just going to run away with the division at the moment. They got so lucky with all the main injuries. Meanwhile, the Bengals, I didn't mention this because it really didn't matter to me that much. And plus I forgot, that's how relevant it was. They traded for Joe Flacco last week and he was the starter. And they lost to the Packers in somewhat a close game and such. But in the end, they still lost. They've lost 4 in a row, and they still look like one of the worst teams in the league. And I can see this as a trap game for the Steelers, but I'm still going to pick the Steelers for this one. All right, then we get to our final London game, as it's a huge one, our conference matchup, as it's the Rams at the Jaguars for the first time since 2017. As the Rams won the last 3, the Jaguars haven't beaten them since 2009. And this would be the... Oh, no, that's right, 2009 was in Jacksonville. So anyways, the Rams... They beat the Ravens, there we go, in a defensive effort, surprisingly. Was not expecting the Ravens defense to do that, but it took that much for the Rams to beat them. Meanwhile, the Jaguars got kind of spanked by the Seahawks and such. Really a let down game after they played the Chiefs. So yeah, this is actually kind of a tough game. Both teams kind of struggled a bit last week. Ooh, this is a tough one. I think it might come down to, because the Rams defense is good, I think it might come down to more of who do I trust as quarterback. And I obviously trust Matthew Stafford more than I trust Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to pick the Rams for this one. But if the Jaguars get, I wouldn't be surprised. Alright, then we get to the 1 p.m. games. And what? I don't work this week, so I can finally watch the Sunday games in peace? Yay! So we start with a big one in the NFC, as it's the Eagles at the Vikings for the first time since 2019. The Eagles won the last 2. The Vikings haven't beaten them since 2019. And the Eagles haven't won in Minneapolis or Minnesota since 2007. So the Eagles, of course, got spanked by the Giants on Thursday night. They now lost 2 in a row. And yeah, like I said, they're obviously having a Super Bowl hangover. They don't look anywhere close as good as they did last year at the moment. Meanwhile, the Vikings came off their bye after they beat the Browns in London in a very hard-fought game, too. Their stats are inflated and deflated because of the bye. Meanwhile, J.J. McCarthy, I just looked up to because I wanted to make sure, because he hasn't played in like 3 weeks. He is questionable right now. He's questionable. So who knows if he'll play or not. But I honestly think right now, I don't think I would trust... I don't think I would think him or Carson Wentz would be enough right now. So I'm going to still pick the Eagles for this one. But who knows? Maybe the Vikings will get, because the Eagles are struggling. Then it's the Patriots at the Titans for the second year in a row. As the Titans won the last one. The Patriots haven't beaten them since 2021. And they haven't won in Nashville since 2012. As the Patriots had a hard-fought, very impressive offensive day against the Saints, as Drake May looked very good, and because the Bills lost, the Patriots not only tied their record for their most wins last year, but they lead the AFC East. Who would have expected that at the beginning of the year? I thought they were going to be competitive, but I think this was going to be happening. Meanwhile, the Titans, of course, lost to the Raiders, and they actually fired their coach, and they brought Mike McCoy in to be their interim head coach, and he was the Chargers coach from 2013 to 2016. So, yeah, we'll see how that does, but usually I'm not favorite of teams that get rid of their coach in the middle of the year. I think the next week they're going to probably struggle, and of course the Patriots are really good, so I'm going to pick the Patriots for this one. And then it's the Panthers at the Jets for the first time since 2017. As the Panthers won the last 3, the Jets haven't beaten them since 2009. As the Jets are trying to avoid 0-7 for the first time since 2020. So the Panthers, of course. Again, they're a very weird team. I don't know what to say about them. They're 3-3 though right now. They're on the verge of having a winning record at the moment if they win this game. And their offense the last 2 weeks has actually looked somewhat good. Very surprisingly impressive. But are they legit, though, is the question. Meanwhile, the Jets, of course, got not destroyed. Lost a close one to the Broncos, but oh my god, their offense was so horrendous in that game. All the sacks, Justin Fields took it. Oh, there was one point in the game where he had negative passing yards. It was horrible. And such. Easily winnable game if their offense just did something. But yeah, I didn't think I would be saying this at the beginning of the year, but I'm actually going to pick the Panthers for this one. They're actually looking somewhat okay at the moment, as long as they keep that streak up, but they are still like a Jekyll and Hyde team to me at the moment. Alright, then it's the Dolphins at the Browns for the second year in a row. The Dolphins won the last two. The Browns haven't beaten them since 2019. As the Dolphins, again, another victory they had taken away from them as they blew it against the Chargers in the end. Meanwhile, the Browns got spanked by the Steelers. Their defense is starting to look a little bit not as elite anymore the last few weeks. But again, it's their offense that's really killing them and ruining their chances of winning games. Man, this is a tough one. Both teams are struggling. But you know what? This might be an odd choice, a surprising choice. But I think I'm going to pick the Browns for this one. I trust their defense to destroy Tua, since he also did play a very terrible game against the Chargers defense last week. And now he's got to go up against an even better defense. Yeah, I'm going to take the Browns for this one. Alright, then it's the Saints at the Bears for the first time since 2020. The Saints won the last 7. The Bears haven't beaten them since 2008. So the Saints, of course, they had a hard-fought game against the Patriots, but in the end, they still couldn't get the job done. Meanwhile, the Bears, they got lucky because the Commanders kept turning the ball over, especially that fumble near the end of last week's Monday night game, as they won it and now have won 3 in a row. Very close one, but it still is a win. So they have a winning record right now and looking kind of okay now. Maybe somewhat competitive, kind of like they were at the beginning of last year, remember. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Bears for this one, obviously. Then it's the Raiders at the Chiefs. As the Chiefs won the last 2, the Raiders haven't beaten them since 2023. As the Raiders got their second win of the year after they beat the Titans, but nothing else really to say. The Chiefs, meanwhile, looked very good against the Lions, and for the first time since probably early 2023, the Chiefs look really good again. Mahomes has looked good. The offense looks good. Defense is still looking solid. They're kind of spanking opponents. And if it weren't for that pick 6, they should have beaten the Jaguars. They would have won 4 in a row. So yeah, the Chiefs definitely look a lot good. They look just like how they did like in 2022 somewhat. I think the Chiefs are finally back after the last 2 years of being terrible. So yeah, obviously I'm going to pick the Chiefs for this one. Then we get to the 4 p.m. games with a huge AFC matchup, as it's the Colts at the Chargers for the first time since 2019. The Chargers won the last 2. The Colts haven't beaten them since 2016. They haven't won on the road against them since 2008. So the Colts, of course, one of the best offense in the league. They had a hard-fought game against the Cardinals, but they got the job done as they now have the number 1 seed in the AFC as this stunning season continues, although their defense is starting to look a little shaky other than points allowed. Meanwhile, the Chargers finally ended their struggles as they now won a game after their 2 losses earlier on in the year, but I'm still having a little bit of question marks for them. This is a very important game because depending on what happens with the Patriots and the Broncos, the Jaguars maybe too, and the Steelers, whoever wins this game could have the number 1 seed. They would have the number 1 seed at the moment, depending on what happens. So this is a very important game right here for both teams. And the Chargers need to have this win too to have the Broncos as well. And then the Chiefs coming up too, potentially. So yeah, this is a hard-fought game these two are going to have to do. And I didn't think I was going to say this at the beginning of the year, but I'm actually going to pick the Colts for this one now. I can't believe I'm going to be saying that. They look like probably one of the best teams in the AFC at the moment. That is hard to believe. Alright, then we get to the next game, the Giants at the Broncos for the first time since 2017. The Broncos won the last one. The Giants haven't beaten them since that 2017 Sunday night game. And the Broncos haven't won home against them since their Thanksgiving game in 2009. So the Giants spanked the Eagles, and honestly, ever since Jackson Dart became the starter, the Giants have looked a lot better. They should have been 3-3 if they didn't choke it against the Saints. Like, can you imagine if the Giants are 3-3? Oh boy, that would be a lot different conversation. Meanwhile, the Broncos, of course, they had that defensive struggle against the Jets. So because of that, the Broncos have one of the best defenses in the league, although their offense is kind of sluggish. So this will be very interesting to see how the Giants play, since they've looked a little bit better once Darts became star, but I'm still going to pick the Broncos for this one. Alright, then it's the Packers at the Cardinals for the first time since 2021. The Packers won the last 2. The Cardinals haven't beaten them since 2018, and they haven't won at home against the Packers since 2015. As the Packers, thanks to the Lions, lost, they lead the division after they, they beat the Bengals. There it goes. They have one of the league's best defenses and such. Although I'm still a little concerned about Jordan Love. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, again, another close loss. All their losses have been close games, too, remember, people. And they should have been 4-2. No, 3-3 at the very least if they didn't have that embarrassing implosion against the Titans. So, no idea what to say about the Cardinals. They can't win games, apparently, anymore now. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Packers for this one. Then we get to a huge NFC East matchup as it's the Commanders at the Cowboys. As the Commanders won the last one, the Cowboys haven't beaten them since 2024, and they haven't won home against them since 2023. Whoever wins this game will have the second place spot in the NFC East, so it's very important for this game. And honestly, depending on the situation for the Commanders, if the Commanders win and the Eagles lose, the Commanders lead the NFC East, I just realized. Holy crap, because that Giants loss the Eagles had. So yeah, the Commanders... Unfortunately, that was a pretty bad loss against the Bears. Their offense had so many turnovers. They had a chance to win, but that fumble cost them big time. They should have been 4-2. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, they have one of the best offense in the league, but their defense is one of the worst in the league. As the Cowboys, they keep... have you noticed, people? They're alternating. On odd-numbered games, their defense plays pretty good, or solid. On even-numbered games, their offense... freaking cooks, but their defense completely shits the bed every single time, almost always shits the bed, as they did this last week against the Panthers. They let Bryce Young look good, for God's sake. That's how bad it is, and once again, wasting another great game by Dak, who's having a great season so far, but his defense and such has been holding him back big time. So this is a big game for both teams, and right now, I think I trust the Cowboys more for this one, to get back to over 500. Alright, then we get to Sunday night, and it's a big matchup in the NFC as it's the Falcons at the 49ers for the first time since 2021. As the Falcons won the last one, the 49ers haven't beaten them since 2021, and the Falcons haven't won in Santa Clara since 2019. As the Falcons had a hugely impressive game against the Bills on Monday night. I told you all to watch out for that Falcons defense. Didn't I tell you that last week? That defense seemed kind of really good, even with the bye inflating it? And they showed it when they shut down the Bills pretty good, and Josh Allen played like dog shit. So yeah, that defense is definitely really good. That defense we have to watch out for. Meanwhile, the 49ers got kind of spanked by the Buccaneers, and I have to eat crow now after saying Mac Jones has been looking really good. He played like shit, and I actually was able to see that game when I was at work, and it was bad watching him play. Ugh. And of course, I still have no idea if Brock Purdy's going to play, so Jones could be starting still at the moment. This is a tough game. Oh, jeez, it's tough. It's really going to come down to, do you trust Michael Penix to show up now? Oh, boy. But I think I'll take the 49ers still, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons win. That defense they have is legit right now, and I love it. And then we get to the Monday night games. Both of them are really huge, and I'm pretty sure the NFL is doing the correct setup, 1-7, 1-10, so thank you. Hopefully I won't be at work too, so I can watch the games. Meanwhile, so we get started with the first game. A huge one in the NFC is the Buccaneers at the Lions for the second year in a row. The Buccaneers won the last one. The Lions haven't beaten them since 2023, and the Lions haven't won at home against the Buccaneers since 2014. So the Buccaneers, who would have thought they would have the number one seed right now after they spanked the 49ers last week, and they have a good opportunity to really cement their lead in the NFC at the moment with this win against the Lions, since they did beat them last year, remember. Meanwhile, the Lions, that was kind of an ugly performance against the Chiefs. Also, Brian Branch, their quarter, you're an idiot for doing that fight at the end of the game and such. Enjoy your suspension. So yeah, the Lions have a tough schedule coming up after even the Bucs game. They got to play the freaking Commanders and Eagles still come up in a few weeks. So they got a tough schedule, so they really do need to win this to keep their season alive, because the NFC is very competitive. If they lose, there's a good chance they could be out of the playoffs at the moment. So yeah, this is a really tough one to pick. The Buccaneers, until they beat the 49ers last week, all their games have been close comeback wins, which is not impressing me, but they're still looking really good. They did beat the Lions last year, remember, and the Lions seemed like a little bit reeling after that game, so this is a tough one to pick, but I think I'll still pick the Lions for this one. But if the Buccaneers pull off the victory, I won't be surprised. And then we wrap it up with the Texans at the Seahawks for the first time since 2017. The Seahawks won the last three. The Texans haven't beaten them since 2009. They haven't won in ever in Seattle. So, of course, the Texans came off their bye last week when they destroyed the Ravens 2 weeks ago in a stunning game. I didn't think that was going to happen, especially the way they won, too. As finally, C.J. Stroud looked really good. The Texans, the last 2 weeks they played, they've only allowed 10 points in 2 games. And by the way, I know it's inflated because they were on their bye, but the Texans have the #1 defense in the league if you look at it. That is insane. They have the #1 defense in the league. Although it is inflated a little bit because of their bye, but their defense this year has been really, really good, but their offense has been so terrible, cost them games. They could have been 5-0 right now if everything went right for them. So we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, the Seahawks had a hard-fought, gritty game against the Jaguars, got the job done and such. Nothing else really to say right there. This is a tough one. Oh boy, are the Texans finally recovered now? Is a question. Ooh, this is a tough one. But I think I'll still take the Seahawks for this one. But if the Texans win, I won't be surprised. Alright, so those are my picks for week 7. I cannot wait for Steelers at Bengals tonight. So my Super Bowl predictions are the Steelers over the Bengals, the Rams over the Jaguars, the Eagles over the Vikings, the Patriots over the Titans, the Panthers over the Jets, the Browns over the Dolphins, the Bears over the Saints, the Chiefs over the Raiders, the Colts over the Chargers, the Broncos over the Giants, the Packers over the Cardinals, the Cowboys over the Commanders, the 49ers over the Falcons, the Lions over the Buccaneers, and the Seahawks over the Texans. Alright, so those are my picks. See you guys next time for my Week 8 picks.